Hey, what's going on? This is KJ here. I'm going to do my best to answer your questions. There's 30 of them, so I may not get to all of them, but I'll try my best. Honestly, man, I had to do these audio-wise because there's so many questions, so typing them back would have taken quite a while. But anyway, question one, you were asking about the writing process and production process on the album. This time around was a little different, mainly because I worked with a guy by the name of Ted T. And so a lot of times I would demo stuff at my studio, aka my house, and then we would recut it back at his studio, aka his house. So I think there was a lot more time to kind of try things out. But when it really came down to getting in the studio with him, that made a huge difference because he was just phenomenally encouraging and just really kind of pushed me and spoke into what I was doing and. Yeah, it was a different process than I've done. Same thing with when I worked with like Aaron Sprinkle. We'd demo a song and then I'd come back later and kind of finish it up or mess with it at my house. So yeah, question number two, what's my favorite song from Dangerous? What is my least favorite? I think my favorite would probably be the song with LeCrae, mainly just because I think it's just a topic I've wanted to hit on for a long time, but I think it would just be it was just hard to tackle it, and so this was kind of an idea I had a long time ago. This was the best way I wanted to execute it. So yeah, least favorite song on the record, I would probably say I don't have one. Honestly, if I put it on the record, I had to cut it down from like 18 songs to 12. I dig them all. I don't think there's one that I say is my least favorite. Yeah, I don't think I have one. Question number three, was I always interested in rock music, for example? Honestly, no. I definitely went through a hair metal phase. Not necessarily dressing like that, but as a kid, I was into that. I really did not like the rap rock stuff when I first started. I was more of an underground backpacker guy. But I did a song called 12 Round Knockout back in 2000 for a movie, and I ended up just seeing the power that it had, and obviously adding guitars sort of gave something a little extra oomph, and yeah, that's kind of where I just grew to appreciate it for what it was. Question number four, how do I feel about working in genres outside of rock, like pop, worship, and things like that? I do it because I like it. I don't really do it because it's necessarily forced on me. But anytime I do it, I try to do it my way. So when the idea came time to remake a Hillsong song, my thing was, okay, well, let me make it the way I would make it. And so that was kind of what I did. Question five, outside of rap music, what genre would I say is my favorite? I don't even know if this is a genre, but 80s music? I'd probably say that's my favorite. Question number six, when listening to music leisurely, are you someone who sticks primarily to rap and hip-hop, or do I listen to stuff outside of the genre and perform in? Absolutely listen to stuff outside. Question seven, do you listen to any metal music? Not really. By and large, not really. The screamo stuff, I just can't. I've tried. I think I'm too much of a groove guy, and a lot of that stuff is emotionally driven and not really groove driven. So yeah. Number eight, what are my favorite artist bands of all time? And would you say are some of your favorite modern bands, secular or Christian? Probably too much to list, but I would go ahead and some of my favorite bands of all time are The Police. I mean, I go through phases, but The Police, Hall & Oates, Phil Collins, hip-hop wise, Public Enemy, KRS-One, Tropical Quest, De La Soul. Current stuff, I've been digging some of the electronica stuff, only because I just think there's some cool stuff going on there. M83, some of the Daft Punk stuff, Justice, stuff along those lines. Hip-hop wise, there's a lot of cool stuff bubbling. I don't know if I'm a massive fan of it, but I'm into a lot of the, I don't even know what genre you would call it, but sort of the indie hipster hop stuff. And I'm just rambling off the top of my head. Macklemore, I think is cool. I'm blanking out on some of the other ones, but either way, yeah. There you go. Number nine, the question is, we love both genres, and we don't miss a beat when going from heavy metal to rap. What do I think of this? Do I know anybody in the rap scenes who listens to metal regularly and bumps hip-hop 1 second while headbanging the next? It depends on what you're talking about. I know a lot of hip-hoppers that are into, like, the quirky stuff. So I used to bug out when, like, I'd tour with Grits, and they were into, like, System of a Down, I think is the group. Serge Tarkanian, I think was the guy. I don't know if they like the hard metal stuff. I don't know too many that are into that. Though my DJ's into like some of that stuff. I had an ex DJ that was really into some of that stuff too. But by and large, no. Creative process of a typical KJ song. There is no typical creative process. It can be anything from a single line that I've written, and I take it from there, to topic things that I'm trying to dig at, to something from scripture, to sometimes what inspires me is just the track, getting a track. Sometimes it's the opposite. Sometimes I have the music and I don't have the lyrics. Sometimes I have the lyrics and don't have the music. Sometimes I make the music. So it just, again, it depends. Question 11, what are your favorite story songs I've done, and can you give me an exclusive tidbit or two about what inspired some of these songs and how they came about? Yeah, well, I mean, growing up, I was really into guys like Slick Rick, who was obviously known as the great storyteller, hip-hop wise. So a lot of the stuff, story-wise, I find it's easier to tell a topic or an issue through a story. So, for instance, Number One Fan was based on a real incident, but I changed it slightly to not exploit that person's story. I have a song called Where Were You off Collaborations album. It's about kind of inspired by my neighbor who was going through all kinds of domestic abuse stuff. I have a song called Fan Mail off Yearbook, which was kind of based on real letters and real emails and things like that. Picture, a song off 5-2 Television, was based on a real conversation I had with somebody. Again, a lot of times I take these as inspirations. I very rarely would use their story verbatim, mainly because it's trying to be sensitive to someone's story. So there you go. But again, same like with the two songs on the new record, Dangerous and So Far Apart, are kind of, again, based on real stories, real incidents, real situations, but changing them slightly. Question 12 says, did I ever imagine that I'd make it and I'd be talking about my 7th album? Good question. I don't know if I necessarily thought that far ahead, I think I learned a long time ago that the more you focus on the future, you will miss the present. So, did I think 7 records down the line? No, I don't think I did. I think I was just trying to get through the day-to-day basis. Yeah. Question 13. I'm trying to find the question in here. The question in 13 says, you've done quite a bit of side projects. Was Peace of Mind? Is that going to be a one-off deal where you just make one album? You know what? Peace of Mind was kind of sparked on an incident or a conversation, and so there was always plans to do follow-ups, but it just was not realistic. I mean, it wasn't really something I could tour, and it wasn't something that the people that kind of drove that record, weren't really in my life anymore. So the idea was to do another one with Aaron Sprinkle, but to do a full-length record was just tough. So really that just kind of turned into these sort of one-off rap rock type songs. But yeah. Question 15 says, how does one who is in the industry keep themselves abreast of all the stuff happening with new music coming out? Is it possible to even keep up with other artists? Do I live in a bubble while recording and working on my album? Yes, I definitely live in a bubble, but keeping up with what's going on isn't very hard. I'm a part of a digital record pool, so I get a lot of the new hip-hop stuff that comes out before it really hits. I try to just check blogs and Twitter and follow people and things like that, so it's not really hard to stay in the know, especially now. If anything, it's hard to find the good stuff. Yeah. 16, I remember being proud when you did the video game song, since my site is a video game website. Are you a gamer yourself? What's your favorite video game genres? And what are your favorite video game franchises? I used to be a way bigger gamer than I am now. I just don't have time, honestly. But I was always into like some of the first-person shooter stuff. I know it's cliche, but Halo. Plus, I also played a lot of sports growing up. So, like, my games were like, growing up, it was like Tecmo Bowl and things like that. But then, obviously, I got into John Madden's football and stuff. So, yeah. Question 17. If you are a gamer, top 10 video games off the top of my head. Okay, top 10 video games off the top of my head. Stuff that consumed way too much of my time as a kid growing up. Of course, Mario Brothers, Tecmo Bowl, as I named, Pac-Man. I'm thinking some of the arcade games. Double Dragon. Golly, I wasted a lot of summers playing that at the arcade. John Madden, all the different incarnations in there. Halo. I played a lot of Halo working on the yearbook album. It was mainly more like frustration. That's all I got, man, off the top of my head. Am I a reader? Do I read often? Honestly, no. I definitely read, but it's not like books and stuff. Recent books I've read, I'm starting to read more stuff on the Kindle. I read a book called You Couldn't Forget Me If You Tried, which is kind of about the John Hughes series of movies. Question 20. What do I think of the Kickstarter revolution? Do I see myself doing a Kickstarter project? Absolutely love it. I think it's great. I think it puts the power back in the hands of the fans. I don't know if it's for everybody, new artists. I don't know if they benefit from it. I think it's more for established artists that get free from labels. I think that's the future there. Do I think it's the future? I think it's part of the future. I don't know if it's the end all for the music industry. But I think it's great for what it is. Question 21. What was it like working with LeCrae? Would you say you guys are friends? Had you met before the collaboration? Will there be more collaborations? I met LeCrae, I want to say in 2005, and it's sort of a running joke, was that he actually, it was a thing I did, and he was in the audience just as the, it was like a youth pastor deal, and he was in the audience with somebody, and so after the thing was over, we all went and got barbecue, like all the youth pastors that were there, and I just remember him kind of grilling me with questions, very respectfully, but he definitely was sort of, I don't want to say taking me to task, because it wasn't like, he wasn't disrespectful or rude, but you could definitely tell there was different questions he was hitting me with than the average rapper who was trying to look at me as a means to an end. And I respected that because it was a different type of hanging out perspective, and I dealt with that before, so I knew kind of ways to handle it in the correct way. And he gave me his record, and I ended up actually passing it along to somebody saying, "Hey, you really need to check this out." Nothing really came of it, but I did end up seeing him again, I think a couple months later, at this thing at Six Flags in Dallas. And throughout the time, as I saw things start to grow with him, people would continually ask, who's a guy to keep an eye out for? And I would always kind of big up him, like, hey, keep an eye out for this guy. And so I honestly thought there's a lot of talent there, there's a lot of ministry there. I was skeptical if the Christian market would embrace him because it was so southern and so legitimate to that genre, and I had been constantly trying to deal with people's helping them, holding their hands through the process of Christian hip-hop. But suffice to say, we connected again over the years, and, I think the process was, initially I asked him to try to get on a song. He turned me down. But we just stayed building over the years, and I think over the years there became a relationship there. Not to the point where something like we talk every day or it's nothing like that. I think it was just more a mutual cultural exchange. So there was things that I kind of needed some help on that were out of my range of ability. So doing the Southern stuff is a stretch for me. So he was a good person to bounce ideas, bounce songs off. He helped me with some choruses and things like that. And then there came times where he needed some help with business type stuff. And so me being in the game a little longer kind of helped there. So that was a really long answer. But when it came time to finally get a song together, I think the issue of racial aspects made sense because it was things that we both were passionate about. What's up with Golden Child? Golden Child works for his dad. He still cuts hair. Did I work with him on Dangerous? Yes, we did a song together. It just didn't make the record. Do I think he'll put out an album of his own? I hope so. Chocolate or vanilla? Chocolate. Question 24. What's my favorite kind of food? Currently, it's Greek. I know, not the typical answer. What's my favorite fast food restaurant? In-N-Out Burger. McDonald's or Burger King? Neither. Question 27. If you could pick one of your past albums, which one am I most proud of? Probably the yearbook, mainly because I produced a big chunk of it, and that was a big stepping stone for me. Question 28, tell me a bit about your wife. How did you meet? It was from a Bible study, and I knew her brother
and I knew her cousin. What does she do? She's a school teacher, and what does she think of my career path? She loves it. Would I say she's a fan? Yes. What kind of music is she into? Mainly just contemporary Christian music, though she definitely loves hip-hop. So, question 29, do you have a favorite Bible passage or Bible verse? What gave you the confidence to be so public in your faith and to be able to produce songs and face people who may criticize you? Just honestly, that's the way I've always been since I came to Christ, and that was really it. What advice would I give to someone who wanted to follow in your footsteps and live their dream? There were probably a lot of people who said that you couldn't make it. You defied the critics. I would say go to youtube.com/52 Academy. That is a series of videos I did. It's pretty old now because it's a couple years ago, but it's a series of videos I did about getting started and things like that, etc., etc. So you can check me out on KJ-52.com or follow me on Twitter, etc., etc. You know, Google check me. Anyway, and that's about it. All right, man. Thanks for the questions. I didn't think I was going to get through all 16, but hey, it's a 16-minute answer. It's 30 questions in 16 minutes. All right, bro. God bless.